Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to Fox Sports Radio 1340 and our Blizzard hangout while we all snowed in. And we want to give you our previews and our predictions for the NFC and the AFC championship games here, tomorrow night on your local TV station. Tonight I'm joined by Cavante. How you doing, sir?
What's up, man? How's everything?
Doing well, doing well. We also got Mr. Main Event. We got Brian H. Waters in the house. What's up, Brian?
Thank you, thank you. I'm trying to kill the gimmick, man.
I'm sorry to give it. I'm sorry. You know, we switched up some shows. I can't call you. Call Mr. Main
It's
Event.
still Brian H. Waters
Brian
wherever
H.
we
Waters.
go.
And I know some of y'all say, "Oh, you a douchebag," or "You should have been a gentleman and introduced the ladies." But you gotta always save the best for last, and that's the ladies of the house that we have. We have Miss Ashley Baker. How you doing tonight, Ashley?
Hey guys, I'm good.
And then we have Casey Hudson, the sports case herself. How you doing tonight?
Hello, everybody. I guess I'm doing a little better than y'all because I don't have the snowstorm going on down
Just
here.
keep bragging. Just keep bragging.
I'm trying to sympathize. I swear. That's what's
All right,
really
so
happening.
this is what you could do as a favor. You can go to the Royal Rumble tomorrow and let us know how it is firsthand.
I could do that. Will Roman Reigns be there?
Oh, of course, he has to. He will be the #1 entry and be defending the title. And it'll be right after Glenn was saying that match will probably happen right after the Panthers advance to the Super Bowl.
Hey, why you doing this?
He hopped right into that.
I know you just hop right into that, right? Real quick, no lineup, we ain't set it up, no chaser, no nothing.
No setup whatsoever.
None. But now we're talking about you have the Carolina Panthers who are 15-1, going against the St. Louis Cardinals tonight.
Who?
If you follow the sports case on Periscope, you heard her talk about the weather may play a factor, may not play a factor involved in this game. I tell you one thing that will play a factor in this game is the Carolina field turf because they turf sucks.
Well,
Yeah.
you just poured salt on the wound because you called them the St. Louis Cardinals.
Right.
Considering St. Louis.
You know why I call them St. Louis Cardinals? You know why I call them St. Louis Cardinals? This is why I call them St. Louis Cardinals because I was watching videos earlier. And I was watching like some old Nelly videos because I was trying to introduce my kids to good music in the 90s. And even Nelly used to wear all the St. Louis stuff and the old throwbacks and stuff like that. So I had to put on the St. Louis. I had to tell my son that they used to be the St. Louis Cardinals before they were the Arizona Cardinals because he like, who's that? And I like had to explain when I lived in Missouri and all that stuff. So I'm sorry to all you Arizona Cardinal fans because we know the St. Louis Cardinals never made it to the Super Bowl.
Did they
Clearly
have a St. Louis Cardinals football and a St. Louis Cardinals baseball team at the same time?
Yes.
Wow, interesting.
At one point, yeah.
Yeah, Brian, you're showing your age.
No, it's just that's what fans were asking. I had to ask you that.
Well,
They were, the little birdies was in my ear asking.
All right, cool. Let's start with Ashley. Ashley, your thoughts on this game and who you think is going to win? Arizona Cardinals coming in with a miracle overtime win. I'm gonna call it a miracle overtime win against the Green Bay Packers, and then you have the Carolina Panthers who's coming in after they put it on cruise control in the second half of the Seattle Seahawks game.
Yeah, I think that Arizona, I think they're going to put up a good fight, but I think that this is actually going to go to Cam and company. It's just too fairy tale-ish. It just seems like it's supposed to happen. So Cam is going to be Cam. He's going to make something out of nothing. I think Larry Fitzgerald is going to have a decent day, but I think that they're going to the big dance. Home field advantage, that's a big deal. I think they're going to come out smoking. They may come out the same way they came out against Seattle. They may, but I mean, I think that when it's all said and done, that Cam is going to Super Bowl 50. I think he's already MVP, so it's just too fairy tale-ish. The football gods are not going to have it any other way, so they're going to take it.
Cavante, I see you over there shaking your head, man. I see you over there shaking your head. I was going to go to Casey, but I'm going to go to you. I saw you shaking your head, and I don't want you to lose that thought.
Listen. Fairy tales are for Disney movies and animations. That's what it's for. This is real life right here.
Fairy tale.
The Arizona Cardinals are just a little bit better overall than the Carolina Panthers, and I feel like the receivers of the Carolina Panthers are going to let them down this game. Outside of the Honey Badger, of course, that's a big loss. But still, I think the Arizona Cardinals have one of the best secondaries in the league, and it won't be too hard for them to stop Ted Ginn Jr. and company. You understand what I'm saying? And I feel like Cam is going to get overwhelmed, and this is the perfect defense for what he does best. Now, unfortunately, we got Carson Palmer, the gunslinger, on the other side, so he has to chill out because he could have threw easily 3 picks against the Green Bay Packers. So he has to calm down with that. But go to his game time receivers, Larry Fitzgerald, Michael Floyd, John Brown, and I think they'll get it done.
Yeah, but they faced Seattle's defense, and that Carolina did great.
That's different. That's NFC West. That's different. That's different.
Yeah,
that's
NFC
West
stronger
right
for sure.
That's different.
And
Yeah,
the Seahawks were not the Seahawks this year per se. They started off shaky, they gained a little momentum, and then they kind of went back into their hole. They relied too heavily on individuals rather than being a unison team themselves. The Seahawks comparison's really kind of shaky.
They're ranked number 2, man. I mean, don't be so dismissive. That's what I'm saying. You guys.
Oh no, not at all.
The fact
Not
that
at all.
you
This
can't
team is
put
16-1
up
for a
against
reason.
defense.
Yo, not being dismissive on the Carolina Panthers, and I agree with Casey. You can't talk about the Seattle Seahawks defense compared to the Arizona Cardinal defense, and we saw that in a couple weeks. The Arizona, shut Aaron Rodgers down 2 out of the last 3 weeks of the season. And you're looking at Peterson right now. Ted Ginn Jr., we all know, who already has problems catching the ball when nobody's on him. So how can he catch if Peterson locks him down? Who else going to get it? I think Greg Olsen needs to have a big game in order for Carolina to stay in this one. That's one of the matchups I think is key. Greg Olsen gets insert linebacker here for Arizona Cardinals, which would be a great matchup. We'll see. Could Greg Olsen be that safety valve for Cam Newton? Can Cam Newton run? Will the Carolina Panthers have a running game if the passing game gets shut down? That's one of the key things. We really haven't seen that much of a running game from Carolina this year. So if they set the passing game down, can the Carolina front 6 take care of the Cardinals front 6 and create a running game which will open up the passing game for Carolina? And don't think the Cardinals have not watched that Atlanta game to see how Atlanta slowed down Carolina.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with that point, especially because if the weather does play a role in the game that takes place tomorrow, then you're going to be safer having a better running game than a passing game, because someone made a really valid point to me that bad weather definitely can change the passing game up a lot. I think that Greg Olsen's going to be heavily relied on, but I think Greg Olsen can only take so much on his plate as well. So that can be an inconvenience to the Panthers. The Cardinals are an overall better team, offensively and defensively. They have a stronger front, but my issue is Carson Palmer. He lacks confidence, especially at the QB position. You have to be a leader in games such as this. And he just looked too easily shaken up against Green Bay. And don't get me wrong, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, but he should have charged that field feeling the advantage that they had and taking advantage of the advantage that they should have had. He looked too insecure. I mean, I've never put on pads, but I know that if I'm going to go into one of the biggest games ever, I need my quarterback to look like, we got this completely under control. And if you see the teams that make it that far, Tom Brady's got a chip on his shoulder, Cam Newton's got a chip on his shoulder, all these other quarterbacks have a chip on his shoulder, and Palmer's kind of lacking his. I would love to see the Cardinals take the Panthers. I'm really scared that it's going to come down to a last-minute thing and the Panthers will end up taking it.
When I look at this matchup, either way, I hope the winner of this matchup wins the Super Bowl. I love 3 of the 4 quarterbacks. One of them I just can't stand, but that's just personal reasons. But the thing is, I've always been a fan of Carson Palmer. When it comes to college football, I'm a fly-by-night fan. I have no problem admitting it. I jumped from bandwagon to bandwagon. In the mid-2000s, I was a huge USC fan. So watching come from there, going into the NFL, despite him playing with the Bengals, didn't necessarily hate the Bengals at the time. I always loved Carson Palmer. But then there's just something about Cam. Cam is the man that I said years ago, 5 years ago, and it came up in my time hop, that I said he would be the greatest quarterback ever if he stayed on the right path. I was told he would be lucky if he lasted in the league 5 years. Well, guess what? that comment, 5 years later, he's got a chance to go to the Super Bowl, and I don't think he's going to let anything stop him. They got this far without Calvin Benjamin. I thought when they were 1, 2, 3-0, I was just like, okay, so what? Anybody can start 3-0. When they got to 10-0, I said, wow, The Cardinals, on the other hand, yes, I do think they're a complete team. At one point, they were my pick to win the Super Bowl, but I think not being at home is going to ultimately affect them. And I think it's going to be Super Cam being ultimately determined, and he's going to win the NFC title tomorrow.
You look at the time, it's weather 35 degrees at the start of the game. 35 degrees. 2 to 3 mile per hour winds. It's going to be cold. It's not the 70-degree that it is in Phoenix, Arizona. It's in Phoenix University Stadium. You have the Cardinals who have traveled over to the East Coast. And because of the weather, they didn't make it to the East Coast 2 days ago like they were supposed to. They're making it there today. Yesterday, early this morning, they're making it there. So you have the time differential that they may have to also have to get used to get into the game. So you got those parameters. And Casey, I thought you made a great point when we talking about Carson Palmer. Can Carson Palmer relax and be in these big games? Can Carson Palmer let the game slow it down? I think they're gonna have to rely heavily on the running game. Chris Johnson and all those guys and the running backs that they have to slow Carson Palmer down and to give him, and the offensive coordinators have to give him easy passes to make first before you take shots down the field. Before all big plays, get into a rhythm, stay into that rhythm. He's able to do it because he is an elite quarterback. This is one of the years that he hasn't been hurt. He could have did this a couple years ago with Cincinnati, but he got hurt thanks to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that was the year that everybody thought Cincinnati was going to get the win, thought Carson Palmer was going to move into the next direction, take Cincinnati over the hump. He gets his first playoff win last weekend over Green Bay, which people are calling a miracle. I call it a miracle because the ball was tipped, somebody else caught it, and then we get a shovel pass that takes, to score the final play of the game, and Larry Fitzgerald gets lightning in the bottle, and he's down the field. So we got Carson Palmer. It's going to be a chess match with coaches, and it's like which defense is going to show up. And I just think neither defense is going to show up. I think it's going to be a track meet. It's going to be in my opinion.
I can agree with that.
It's going to be a high-scoring game.
The one thing I will stem off of is that in weather perturbs, Larry Fitzgerald, is a Minnesota bred, so he can handle the cold weather and then some, I believe. The thing that I noticed with the last game with Fitzgerald is he showed up late. He was there, he was in the game, but he didn't really show up until the final moments of the game, especially OT. So my other note with him is that if he comes to play on the same, but your quarterback, again, it comes back to Palmer. He's got to set the tone, he's got to set the pace for these guys. And seeing what the Panthers did to the Seahawks, or not the Seahawks, seeing what the Panthers did to the Seahawks, I think the Cardinals should know in a game plan in advance that they have to come out and set that tone really quick and really fast, and they have to control the tempo of the game to have the better shot at this game, because the Panthers have controlled the tempo of 90% of their games this season. The Falcons were a sneak on them, and they controlled the pace and the tempo, so that's another thing as well.
Did you guys think that game was a fluke, or did you see that they was going to ultimately have one hiccup that maybe they probably needed?
The Falcons and the Panthers?
Yeah.
If I thought that was a fluke? No, I think the Falcons outplayed them. I think that the Panthers probably went in cocky. They had everything under control. They had this, unison between their defense. They had Cam Newton. Greg Olson's been having one of his best seasons in how many every year. So I think they kind of went in thinking they had it under control. And I think the Falcons' game plan, because the Falcons aren't as bad as everyone thinks. They're very chippy.
Overrated. I always go to.
I won't even state what team I'm a fan of because that we'll get off topic. But
I wouldn't even. I always go to the divisions. I always go to the divisions, guys. When it comes to teams that are in the same division, they know each other. It was no way they was going to allow what happened to them 2 weeks prior happen again. And I feel like the Carolina Panthers were already on that high horse. I think it was 14-0 at the time, and they felt like they was unbeatable. And the Falcons said since it happened 2 weeks ago, that was fresh in their minds. They got dogged. Then they already knew they were gonna come out 100%. And of course, they know them. They've been playing them twice for how long? How many seasons?
Since 2002.
So
it just wasn't gonna go down like that. Now, I didn't think they was gonna win, but I knew it was gonna be a much better matchup
I just look at the Panthers. I don't look at them. They didn't look like an undefeated team to me. Now, we all remember the 2007 New England Patriots. On paper, they look like a team that literally just cannot be beat.
Yeah.
This Panthers team never screamed that, and for me, I was kind of happy that they lost because I was like, okay, now I want to see how they're going to bounce back from adversity. Just like the New Orleans Saints did when they were 13-0, and they fell, and then they ultimately went to win the Super Bowl. So that's the one thing, and I'm hoping that the Panthers go ahead and go all the way this year.
Absolutely.
It's not even that, but you got to look at, when you go back to Carolina, you got to look at the previous week. They won against the New York Giants on a last-second field goal with they was leading the Giants by 28 points. People were getting close to Carolina. The last 3 or 4 games before they lost to Atlanta were won in the last minute or last 2 minutes of the game. So people were catching up with them and to them. The loss wasn't a bad thing. Truth be told, I think the loss was one of the better things that happened to this Carolina Panthers team. Now there's no pressure on you. All you can do is just relax and play the game. You're not playing for history. You ain't got the 1972 Miami Dolphins jinxing you. You ain't got none of that stuff. You can just relax and play the game. And I think, Coach Rivera did a great job of telling these guys to relax and play the game. The bye week helped them out. We saw how they came out against Seattle. Seattle made a lot of mistakes early. One thing Carolina defense did, they did not allow Seattle to get into rhythm in the beginning of the game, and they allowed Seattle to make mistakes. Russell Wilson throws a pick 6, takes it to the house. So now they're playing from behind. One thing I did not like, and I just mentioned earlier in the opening, was that Carolina didn't keep their foot on the gas in the second half. You got to keep your foot on the gas in the second half. Why? Because you want the other team to see that you're coming. I understand the coaching perspective. We keep it vanilla. We won't play it. We're not gonna show our hand. But guess what? Most coaches don't watch all 16 games anyway from the Arizona's coming into this game. They've seen what you have. There's nothing new that you can throw to them or against them, and it's gonna be a good matchup. So we're looking for my pick, and we'll go down the line. Arizona Cardinals, 21-24. Cavante.
I would say Arizona Cardinals 28-24.
Still riding that train, huh, bro?
Man, I've been on that train all year. I've been telling y'all, man. They here. We there. Here.
Ashley, what you got?
I'm going to go Carolina 24-20.
Casey.
I'm going to take Carolina 24-21.
This ain't the Price is Right. I just definitely went. Just definitely went with one point differential. I said it's not the Price is Right. I just thought it was funny. Like, what you say? All right, I'm going 21.
Wait, are we betting on this? No, I'm totally kidding.
Nah, we find a sponsor. We getting upset.
Do I have chips to cash in if I get this one correct?
Oh man, scores are always kind of difficult for me because I never ever get them right. But that's for I'm going to say Carolina Panthers 31-21, and Super Cam, baby. But it's not going to be what it's going to be. That 31 is going to be to ice the game, and I think the momentum is just going to go crazy. You're going to see a lot of people forgetting it's cold in North Carolina tomorrow. You see people running around because they're going to go back to the Super Bowl.
All right. Don't worry. I really actually hope that I'm wrong, but a lot of games have come down to that field goal or, that one last little pull, and I think it's going to be very neck and neck, but I think Palmer's going to choke.
I mean, I think we all got something in common here on this show, and you'll know what I'm talking about when I finish my statement. There's only one of us left so I'm rooting for him to win the Super Bowl so we can, have 2 out of 3 years a black quarterback win. So
one name real quick. I know one name we have not mentioned in this discussion is Josh Norman.
Yep.
Yeah. Could Josh Norman shut Larry Fitzgerald down?
This is where he'll become elite.
I think Fitzgerald is actually a stronger player. I don't think Norman is really that. Norman, a lot of receivers actually have more pace on Norman. The thing with Josh Norman is he gets in their heads. And I don't think Larry Fitzgerald is the kind of player to let someone in his head. And I think he's already going to be interpreting it. So I don't think Norman's going to really have the shutdown on Fitzgerald. I think that the whole Odell Beckham thing, he was just too sensitive. Because he had so much speed on him. Just close it out and play your game. Like, that was too much.
Yeah, Odell showed his mental weakness, definitely.
Yes. Which can hurt him in his career. You got to be mentally tough in football. Again, I've never played, but these are just my guesstimates.
Odell Beckham has lost a lot of money because of that, because there's some advertiser who would not touch him because of that.
Yeah.
That was very costly.
Way overly sensitive. So,
Definitely.
yeah, I think Josh, don't get me wrong, Josh Norman is good. I mean, corner is a very strong position, but I think a lot of wide receivers have a lot more speed on him than people notice. So his big thing is getting in everyone's head. It's almost like a Sherman. What's his face?
Oh, so you don't think he's as good as you don't think Richard Sherman's that good? You think he just
No,
gets
I'm saying no. Richard Sherman's amazing, but I'm saying from a mental aspect, he gets in people's head. A lot of his leeway was the fact that he can mentally control people. Because how much has Richard Sherman done this past season?
Well, he'll say, but honestly though, like just because I'm a huge fan of his, favorite cornerback in the league. So I read his website, and he'll say that this, even though his numbers aren't high, he thought that this was one of his better seasons just because they were at one point a better unit. Now we're also talking, once Cam came back and that second half, obviously.
Yeah, I think he's a good corner overall. I think he's had better seasons than this one for sure. I think this has been his most honorable season because it hasn't been as much talk and as much chatter. He's been a lot more quiet this season, but he's a very intelligent guy. I mean, from Stanford, he knows the right way to just sneak in there verbally and lock you down mentally. But I think Norman's just trying to pull from the Richard Sherman book.
Got you. Let's go to the early game of the night.
Oh, my favorite.
Yay! Game of the day, the game where here on the East Coast nobody will be going to church. Everybody be home waiting to watch the thing. Unless you're going online, unless you're going somewhere else. But if you want to give, I can give you out a place to give to anyway. But anyway, let's go. You want to give?
Dang it! Sorry,
the early game. The New England Patriots taking on the Denver Broncos. Brady Manning 17, as most people would say. Brady Manning 17. We're gonna start with Casey. Your thoughts on the Manning Brady Bowl yet again?
So many thoughts on this one. Okay, so I'm gonna start with I am a Patriots fan. I do love the Pats. Tom Brady is an overall amazing quarterback. He's up there with Joe Montana, but I feel like Manning has something to prove. He really kind of wants to be done with football, and this is his opportunity to close a chapter in a big way. When it comes to the matchup, I feel like Tom Brady gets flustered when it comes to a strong pass rush game. And against Kansas City, they flustered him a lot. He barely got through that situation, and now you're going against a top defense that's going to be able to fluster you even more. So I'm kind of nervous about his turnover rate because he's not a fast scrambler, but he happens to make it work. So as much as I love for the Pats to pull this off, I think the Broncos, if they hold them defensively a lot stronger, that they're going to have a tighter game here and a better chance to win. Because I always look at the better overall team, and Edelman was a sneak that other week. I mean, they kept that so hush to the ultimate last minute that he was coming back, but I think they're going to use Amendola. Huh?
You know how the Pats do.
You know who to pass it to?
They hold out to the very end.
Oh my gosh, I want to be on that payroll because I can hold a secret.
Walk the tightrope. Walk the tightrope.
Whatever the payroll is for that secret, I want to be on it because they kept that one hushed to the ultimate moment. I think they're going to try to use Amendola more as a decoy because everyone's already got all the talk about Gronk going on. They're going to try to cue in on Gronk, but he's just got that large body. He can take their linebackers with probably not the biggest issue, but he's very injury prone is my issue with Gronk. So I think this one's going to be a really tight one again. 2 good games going on tomorrow, but I think the Broncos might pull it off by a sneak.
We'll go with Ashley. We can go with the ladies first. Ashley?
I think that New England's going to take this one. I'm looking at it being around 31-20 New England. I actually think the opposite of Casey. I think that Brady has something to prove. I think he's had something to prove ever since last year's AFC Championship game. I think he's been trying to raise hell pretty much all season. So Gronk is going to be like a huge deal tomorrow, and having Amendola and having Edelman back, all of those guys back for the first time in weeks, I think that it's going to just be a lot of attention on Gronk, and I think that Gronk is probably going to be used as the decoy, and I think that they are going to have really good games. I feel like Peyton is going to I feel like his receivers, what happened last week is going to carry into this week. The receivers aren't going to catch balls. I think that Peyton is going to throw a lot of ducks. I mean, the defense, that is the number one defense, but, you know, having Gronk, and again, I think that they're going to use him as their decoy. Having Gronk, you know, healthier than he was the last game, I just think that that's going to work better for the Patriots. And I think that they are mentally, they just haven't made up in their minds that they're going back to the Super Bowl. So
right. One question, though. Patriots have no running game.
That hasn't stopped them.
That never stopped them before.
It has never stopped them. They're back at the AFC Championship for a reason.
But now you're going against one of the top secondaries in the league, as well as DeMarcus Ware, and then you have
but I think
has a passing as well as a running game.
Yeah, and that's all good and dandy, but we're forgetting about Bill Belichick, and he's a genius. So I think he'll make it work.
But you know, I'm gonna jump in there before I'm gonna jump in there. Screens in today's day and age is a modern running game. If you hit with screens, and we know the Patriots do a lot of screens, but also let's not forget Steven Jackson. It was one of the top elite running backs in the NFL at one point in one time. And we've seen it years past. LeGarrette Blount last year against the Indianapolis Colts goes off and hits 3 touchdowns, which I always thought was cool, which I always thought was funny because everybody talk about Deflategate, but I swear all of the Patriots touchdowns from last year's game against Indianapolis, 4 out of the 5 were running touchdowns.
Agreed.
So, you had to get downfield somehow.
Hey, no, running deflated footballs don't help you run. All right? So,
actually,
it doesn't help you run.
You won't drop it.
No, it doesn't help you run.
Actually,
high and tight, 4 points of contact.
You might have to have a better grip, because then you can like hook it in the deflation creases. No.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you still got to get that.
I sound horrible.
Blount didn't run 300. I mean, Blount didn't run 300 yards now.
How does it help you not to tackle?
Well, let me just say this: They stole the week before. We all know that. They stole that game. Besides, everybody can talk about the trick plays. No, they stole the game against Baltimore.
He out coached Baltimore's coach.
He got scared, so he had to go to trick plays. That's what it was.
Hey, it's all fair. It's in the game, baby.
Hey,
Baltimore's not that good.
That's why you play the game. But back to this game here. I think they will develop a running game with Steven Jackson. If not, Brady's able to hit short passes, Amendola. And the thing is, people look at Patriots don't really go down the field long passes that much.
Right.
What happened is the yards after the catch. You know what I'm saying? So it's the yards after the catch that makes the difference. With Amendola and the guys like that and Gronk, they catch the ball short yardage distance between 7 and 8 yards, and they run the rest. So they get the yards out of the catch. So Denver have to be a short tackling team, a short tackling defense on tomorrow. The real question is, will Peyton Manning's arm be up to it? You know, there've been comments about hit Brady often and early, but can you hit Peyton Manning often and early, and will Peyton Manning survive getting hit that many times and go into the second half of an early game?
Which is a really great point, because, I mean, granted, Peyton Manning is another person who's very injury-prone, but then we look at the fact that Osweiler beat the Patriots as the starting QB for the Broncos. You know what I mean? So even if, let's say, you know, Peyton Manning can't finish the game, or he can't really, you know, do what they need him to do, we've seen that the backup quarterback can bring it home for them. So in another aspect, depth, Brian, we're in sync today. And if you've seen in college ball or most sports, depth wins games as well. So now you have depth and you have defense for the Broncos. And I promise you guys have to understand how much this hurts for me to say any of this, because I do want the Patriots to win. But I'm seeing a different spectrum on this one.
But the question is, Brian, before you go, the question is this, though. At what point does Kubiak pull the gun on Peyton Manning? Because we saw last week Manning wasn't having a great game, but he kept him in.
That's a good point.
This is the question is, does Kubiak have the cojones, grapefruits, whatever you want to call it, to pull the trigger, or does John Elway have to be the one to call downstairs and be like, look, and pull a Jerry Jones and be like, it's time.
Oh,
pull a Jerry Jones.
What?
That's awful.
Brian's on mute right now. Garante, your thoughts on this game?
I honestly, I'm not even gonna throw no numbers or anything at y'all right now. I just don't, cause I feel like whoever wins in the NFC is going to win the Super Bowl. So I don't want Peyton Manning to win this game and lose in the Super Bowl. I don't want that for him. I don't want his career to end up in the close out like that. I'd rather him lose an AFC Championship game to a person who he's been losing to his whole career, basically.
Oh gosh.
And unfortunately, but I think that Kubiak call will be made if their running game doesn't show up. If their running game does not put up between 80 and 100 yards, the Broncos are in trouble because that means Peyton Manning is going to have to throw the ball a lot more. And honestly, he turned into a, dare I say, game manager. Never thought I would associate that with Peyton Manning, but that's what they turned him into.
So what's wrong with a game manager if you win the Super Bowl?
They belong on the sideline.
Hey, if you win the Super Bowl, by all means do it. But from what he once was to now, I don't like it. I don't like it.
I'm gonna give you one thing, and Brian may be mad at me. Ray Lewis, his final year was a game manager.
Wow.
Ray Lewis shouldn't have been on the field. Ray Lewis shouldn't have been on the field at that time when they won the Super Bowl. But he was a game manager.
Just keep hitting him where it hurts.
So before I get into my spill, I gotta address that. What makes him a game manager? Because let's not forget he was hurt. Let's also not forget 15 tackles against the Colts first round. Now maybe the Super Bowl, I'll give you that game manager, yes. And guess what? You needed a game manager on the field to get those boys straight, and to say, especially when they looked like they was going to bend, but they didn't break. You needed Ray Lewis on the field because no matter, as long as he was still on the field, maybe Pete Carroll would understand this, and Vince Young wouldn't have a championship. That if he's on the field, you have to account for him.
Right.
So,
I'm not disagreeing with you. That's what I'm saying. Peyton Manning has to be on the field because he's been in that situation. Osweiler hasn't. I
love the question, and folks out there watching 1340 AM Fox Sports on Twitter, make sure you vote. I think at one point, what they have to realize is this: the Patriots have to realize is at any given time, Osweiler can come in the game, and he was fearless in the last game. But like you said, I don't know about this one because of the pressure, because of what's on the line. I don't know how he's going to act. I don't know enough about the guy to say, like, we know Cam Newton has already said he's just going to do his normal routine. So what? It's an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. He still wants to win, just like he wants to win every other game. Of course he wants to win this one more, but he's going to treat it like a regular game. I don't know if Osweiler will act like that. Peyton Manning, when I look at the reason why I don't, maybe he's a game manager. The problem is he can't really throw the ball the way he used to. So what he's going to have to do is make an adjustment, sort of what Big Ben did in the final moments of the Steelers-Bengals game. He's going to have to adjust to what his body will allow him to do so. And even though I think he'll do that, I just think that Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, it's hard for me to go against them twice. They beat the Chiefs, and they did it, handily. This might be a close game, but it's not. If no matter what, as long as the clock is on, as long as the clock is running, I see Tom Brady and them having a huge chance, and that's why I think they're gonna win. I just think Brady's just too motivated, and the worst thing that could have happened was them losing 2 games in a row earlier in the season because that just put another chip on their shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, what
the one thing I'll give you is they have that Ninkovich. Am I saying his name properly? Number 50 for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, though.
He's a clutch player. He came in on the last moments of last year and just started, killing it up and down the field with tackles. And so if he gets on Manning enough, that's definitely going to take him out of the game eventually.
Right. I'll say this. Patriots got don't have much of a running game. There's only one way, and I mean one way, I would root for the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. And that's I wish I had my jersey right here.
So we're sending Brian a Patriots jersey?
Huh?
We're sending you a Patriots jersey?
No, the jersey that I have.
What name do you want on the back of your jersey?
Yeah. If they sign this person, if they sign number 27, if they sign Ray Rice, then I'll root for the Patriots. Now, that would be the ultimate screw job for, if they did that and then they had Roger Goodell had to not only shake Tom Brady's hand, but shake Ray Rice's hand. That'd be the only way you have. I mean, I'm just saying.
Wow, what a setup. What a setup.
You need a run game. There's a guy available.
They got a run game. Steven Jackson. The Patriots going to be okay. The game is going to come down to 2 guys. And their name is not Brady and the name is not Manning.
You're listening.
The name is the two kickers.
Yes, it's been coming down to field goals. I absolutely agree.
It's going to come down to the two kickers. What kicker is going to put the ball through the uprights at the end of the game? It's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a chess match.
Gostowski.
It's going to be a chess match, and it's going to come down to kicker. We know, let's be honest, Denver Broncos kicker allowed them to get in this game right here. They didn't score a touchdown until the fourth quarter of the game. This guy was nailing field goals with 15-mile-per-hour winds going against 15-mile-per-hour
winds. The air in Denver is different.
Right. In the air, and to the one that the third field goal he made, the goalpost was swinging in as the ball was coming out. So he timed it right. I mean, he kicked it correctly. It's going to come to kickers. It's going to come to who can outsmart. We all know Belichick is a better coach than Kubiak. We know that. And don't think Belichick and his defensive coordinators have not prepared for Osweiler coming into this game.
You're right.
They understand this. They're prepared for this. The things that they've been talked about this. If Peyton Manning goes out, that this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to trick Osweiler. We're going to look at this game because it's a potential that potentially can happen. We talk about the non-existent running game, but let's be honest, Broncos' running game in the last couple of weeks has been non-existent as well. And so they're going to have to create a running game as well. Patriots' defense has stepped up for the last couple of weeks. It's playoff time. To me, when playoff time comes, you can take the regular season stats, all that stuff, and throw it out the window. These guys are playing for the next week, and this is their livelihood. Everybody wants to go to the Super Bowl, and you treat it as a one-game playoff, and everything will be put on the line. I think if Peyton Manning goes out the game, he's going to have to be dragged out or dead. Or that arm going to have to be limped for him to get put out of that game.
You don't think he would bow out, to give his team that victory as well if he's not really holding up?
No, I don't think he would bow out. I think he has too much pride. If he's hurting his team, I think he's a gunslinger. He wants to ride it out because as a top elite athlete, you always think you can bring the team back. You always think you can do the comeback. If you got to hand the ball off, you always think you want the ball in your hands.
So you're saying is he won't pull a LaDainian Tomlinson?
Ooh,
no.
No.
Do not put Brock Osweiler in that game. Don't do it.
Hitting low talk against Gronk. Because I think that Ashley made a really good point that, Gronk might actually be the decoy rather than Amendola. But you don't hear much talk about Amendola, especially since Edelman sparked back up.
Yeah, because, it was the dropsies last week for the Amendola and Edelman. If you look at some of the passes they dropped last week, that game could have been much worse than what it was.
Mm-hmm.
They dropped a lot of passes. And let's be honest, the New England Patriots have a lot of weapons. There's some guys who are no-name guys for the Patriots that we see in the past series who have showed up.
Yeah, when you're running to the screen, like, what's the name on the back of his jersey?
Right, what's the name on the back of his jersey? You're like, who is that?
Is that LaFell?
Right. So those guys, so you try to do it.
Johnson? Which Johnson is that? He might be fourth.
Do they say Calvin Keyshawn is back?
This is what I want to ask everybody. I posted this in GroupMe, but I guess everybody's busy, shoveling snow or watching it. Danny Kanell made a comment about the Broncos need to, maybe take some penalties and deliver some illegal hits to Tom Brady. How do you guys feel about that? Do you agree with them or not?
I mean, I think that they're saying that because they want to try to rattle Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady's very strong mentally. I agree with everything y'all are saying. He has a chip on his shoulder. He's coming in this taking no other answer other than he's going for the championship. But like I said, against Kansas City last week, he kind of barely hung in there against their pass rush. So they're coming at them from a defensive angle thinking if they can shake up Brady or if they can hurt him or if they can cause his turnover rate to be a little bit higher, that they're going to have a stronger chance here. So that's why I feel like it is going to be a tighter game because the Broncos as a whole, although, Glenn just made a really good point, Peyton Manning, his timeline is really cutting short here, and if his pride keeps him in the game and they don't pull in Osweiler, then they can hurt themselves as well. But if they can shake Brady up, if they can cause a higher turnover rate, then I think they can pull this one off.
Only thing I disagree with that statement is hit him late. If you hit him within the whistles, I have no problem with that because he called it a game.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about hitting him late, and that's when you get in the dirty aspect of the game. Now, if you
That was
hit
that weird Amendola hit last week.
yeah, if you hit them inside, and then that Amendola hit, people say, oh, it's late. It was wrong. Only thing was that the guy was defenseless. Well, he was looking back.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go back. Other than that, I thought the hit was clean. He got fined. I'm not the NFL, but they fined him. So my thing is, if you can hit Brady, make sure you get to him every time. Pressure, knock him down, knock the balls down, but do it with inside the whistle.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to do much. I mean, Brady hops right back up from some of the craziest hits, so.
Oh, he's been getting hit a lot this year. I haven't seen Brady get hit this much almost ever.
Yeah, napping on the field.
I'm going to say this. I've always wondered this in sports. And Glenn, you're a coach. I know you're also a man of integrity. But I've always wondered, like, why don't people have designated hitmen on their team? Like, you look at a guy, like, say, all right, this is your job. Your job is to go foul that person. Your job is just to go in there and get that person rattled. Even if that person won't hit Tom Brady but after the whistle, just go in there and get his hit. Why don't teams have designated hitmen?
Sounds like Bountygate. Sounds like that's what you're trying to say.
No, I'm saying
It sounds like.
Even if you maybe, but like I said, even if you just send somebody in there to just go in there and constantly talk to Tom Brady, talk trash, just to mess with, get in his head, somebody after they tackle him, just a little shove here.
Because if you coach that, what are you doing is now you just made the game 10-11.
Okay.
Because that person's all they're gonna do is try to jaw.
Well, I'm talking about like the person all the way at the bottom of the depth chart.
Yeah, but will he be effective in that play? Because you got a good quarterback like Brady, he's gonna pick that guy apart. He's your defensive lineman. I'm going to that side. I'm gonna run the ball to that side because all he's gonna do is talk. My thing is I want to get those 6 guys up front to put pressure on those 6 guys, on their 6 guys, and hopefully by we do what we do and we scheme what we scheme, and our schemes and our dynamics, we should be able to get to the quarterback. And so that's the thing, is not designing one person to be a hitman. I can understanding basketball because you got 12 guys, you got 6 fouls, and we can just wear your body out. But in football, you can't take that advantage of that one play, because that one play that you worried about hitting Tom Brady, it could be a home run play that cost you the game.
Okay, I was just always curious.
And I actually think that as far as the Broncos saying that they want to hit him low and, get in his head or whatever, trying to rattle him, I think that I just think that Tom Brady is kind of like the last person you really want to piss off. And I think that that's going to just put more fire under him to probably score some defense. So trying to rattle him and get in his head, I don't really think that that'll work with him.
And imagine this is just an analyst, not even one that was successful in the NFL. Right. Sorry, Glenn, I know it was one of your former quarterbacks. I'm saying that, but I was just curious.
But you know what? And getting his head, think about it. And the ESPN put a graphic up there earlier this week, and I give it to him. You got 3 number 1 picks, right? But the guy who's picked 199th has more Super Bowls. Why? From day one, he played with a chip on his shoulder. So you're not going to rattle this guy. From day one, you told him he wasn't good enough.
Yep.
From day one, you told him I was a backup and I would never achieve. So guess what happened? The rattling him and the chip on his shoulder is done. That should have sailed.
That guy has so much patience.
Well, it's one team he hates playing. They're sitting at home right now and their stadium's full of snow. But it's the reason why he hates playing that team, because they don't even want who not bothered by all the this that he does, and they go out there and hit him in the mouth. That's the Baltimore Ravens.
He found a way to bring the Ravens back into the conversation.
Always.
Hey, I mean,
the Ravens not only not make it, but they didn't make it far.
Well,
I'm so sorry, bro.
The Ravens are on the clock right now.
Their season was over by like week 8.
Loving it. They should have been number 1 if they would have went with my thing. Like I said, live on Soul Sports, which you can find Monday through Friday on Fox Sports Radio, 1340 a.m. I said, bottom line, the Ravens should have tanked.
Oh boy, you gotta give him credit.
You one of those guys. I'm just gonna pay you a paycheck, right?
We're gonna give you credit for that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my final thoughts on this game. We start with Ashley. Who do you think score and what you got?
Patriots 31-20. Brady's going back to the Super Bowl. He's putting all this Deflategate stuff to rest. We're not gonna have to hear about it anymore. It's gonna be the Patriots.
At least I know Ashley and I are going to be good
Brady
friends
is my favorite player.
after
Brady
this
is my favorite
situation.
player. So I mean, he's a machine. They're not going to be able to stop him. The Patriots are going to win. Sorry.
Oh boy.
Cavante.
I'm gonna say the Patriots 27, Broncos 23. The best shot the Broncos have is to shut down the receiver. They gotta get in Amendola's face, Julian Edelman's face, because Tom is not holding the ball long at all. So
Right.
that's why I'm not really worried about the pass rush for the Broncos, because in the Chiefs game he wasn't holding the ball 2 seconds. He's neutral. He by himself. He's neutralizing the pass rush. But if you get into those faces, you gotta have him hold the ball just a little bit longer. And watch out for the T.J. Ward matchup with Gronkowski, possibly.
I can't stand that.
All right.
dude.
We can go. Casey, we can say Brian for last. Casey, your thoughts?
I'm going to take the Broncos on this one.
There's nothing
Actually,
behind it. There's
I'm after
nothing
this, I
behind it.
promise. I'm spitballing here. 31-28 Broncos.
All right. Brian H. Waters.
I'm gonna make a prediction, and I hope that I'm wrong.
Brian, the Baltimore Ravens are not playing tomorrow.
Just saying.
Just in
saying.
case you needed a reminder.
Oh man, what a season! You know, it was supposed to be the Cowboys and the Colts in the Super Bowl, but that's another
I
story.
agree.
Lord.
Oh man, when I look at this game, the only way. So, anybody ever used to watch the show Coach? They used to come on back in the day.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound
There was an
familiar.
episode
Showing your age.
it wasn't. I was watching, but I was like 12. And hey, you can find it on Netflix. It's a good football show. Pretty sure you guys aren't doing anything unless you're catching up your archives of the Flex Zone, Soul and Sports, the Sports Case, and the rest of our other shows we have right here on Fox Sports. The thing is, there was an episode where the guy had where they was playing a team and they got sick because they went out and they ate the food in the local area. That's the only way I'm giving the Broncos a chance. If one of their local restaurants helped them out and
Oh my goodness. Wow, that's not where I thought that was going at all.
I'm just saying, I got it from a TV show. Somebody else wrote the script. I just revived it.
Brian will not be at this championship game tomorrow, right?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
He's not.
Don't eat at the Broncos then. Don't eat at the Broncos then.
Yeah,
Was
definitely.
he at the Deflate game by any chance?
Right.
Right. So what's going on there?
Look, I was in New England last year, and so my hate for the Patriots elevated to have to walk around and see their ignorant fans. You know, especially when I walked around with my Ravens jersey the past 2 seasons, every time the Ravens played, and the people did like this, you know. But I just see the Patriots running away with this one, and it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get ugly quick. I'm saying 41-21.
Wow.
And I hope and pray. I hope and pray I'm wrong.
Yeah, me too.
You are right, Brian. That's a great pick.
Look, I'm not a big Patriots fan. Not a big Denver Bronco fan. But I tell you one thing: it will be nice to see Peyton Manning close his career out with a Super Bowl win and tie his brother. Eli will having 2 titles. I just don't think they have enough in the tank to do so.
Exactly.
I don't think they have enough in the tank to do so. I can see New England winning this. Brady is driven, motivated. Gronk is driven, he's motivated. Belichick wants this. Brady knows that he doesn't have that much more time left to get there. As many more times as he has gotten there already. So he wants this win. I mean, you got a guy who potentially could already have 5 Super Bowl rings under his belt. If it wasn't for David Tyree, and some other things. So he could have had those. Well, David Tyree, if it wasn't for the New York Giants and Eli Manning.
Wes Welker dropped in the past too.
So he would have. If it wasn't for the New York Giants, Brady would have 5 rings. So I think right now Brady is focused, especially because of Deflategate. What better way to give the NFL a middle finger by winning the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl MVP, and it had not been for Cam Newton winning the league MVP. Brady has had that type of year, so I see New England winning this game. I'm gonna go 24-17. 24-15. I see, and I say 15 because I see Denver getting 5 field goals
Wow.
Again. You
Uh,
guys left me standing.
again. They haven't been in the end zone since last week. So, with that being said, final thoughts. Anybody who has final thoughts before we wrap this thing?
Oh, final thoughts. No, you guys just kind of wounded my ego. I guess I'm the only staff member taking the Broncos on this one. Again, do we get gambling chips for this situation? Do I get a payoff if I figure this one out?
I just hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too. If I'm wrong, I'm blaming it on the Baltimore Ravens because
You
apparently
get 20
they're
extra
the Knicks.
minutes on Periscope.
I get to do an extra Periscope.
Where's Nancy Kerrigan when you need her?
No final thoughts. I just can't wait for these games tomorrow.
I know.
One more thing. Back to the Panthers and Cardinals. Larry Fitzgerald is probably going to spend a lot of his time in the slot. Will Josh Norman follow him?
Ooh.
Mm.
You guys
Because
heard my
that's-
dissertation on Josh Norman. I can't go back there.
That's leaving the outsides wide open. Now, outside of Josh Norman, the Panthers secondary is a little suspect.
yeah, they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think he will follow. I think he goes with Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald go to the bathroom in the middle of the game. Josh Norman is right there with him. That's what I thought. That's what I tell my.
You got to get past them dreads, man.
Hey, that's what I tell my coaches, man. That dude goes in the stand and gets some popcorn. You're getting some popcorn with him. If he goes there, so you lock him down. You got one job, man, and that don't get beat by the receiver. You got one job. Don't let
But if
anybody.
Norman's so focused on Fitzgerald, like he said about the Panthers secondary, I mean, again, the Cardinals are a more rounded team. They've got other people other than Fitzgerald. It's going to come down to Palmer's leadership.
And Palmer leadership, and can he get the ball out in that 1.5 or 1.6 that Brady gets the ball out in?
Mm-hmm.
My final thoughts, guys, is that after tomorrow, I should be 10-0 in these.
Chill out.
But you ain't lost yet?
I closed out like 4 for 4 last weekend, so I was like excited for a
lost
moment.
yet, Brian. No.
I've lost one, and that's because I went with my heart. Hail to the Redskins.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
Hey, it's okay,
Loyal.
baby. We good.
We good.
7-1. I'm 7-1 too.
I went with the Redskins too, and I messed up.
That's okay, because she picked the Panthers, and it ain't gonna happen. She picked the Panthers, and it ain't gonna happen.
I'm going 10-0. That's my final thoughts.
No
Well,
problem.
Ashley, I'm coming with you to Vegas, so
We're taking a Vegas trip.
we'll plan that
Perfect.
one.
Bring the chips with you. Let's go.
It's funny because I talk a lot about gambling, but I'm that nervous wreck that goes on the table for like 10 seconds, and I'm like, nope, I'm good. I got it. I'm off. Anybody want these extra chips?
I'm that guy where I get up, I know how to walk away and don't think twice.
Oh, yeah, I walk away before the walk away. I get too nervous. I'm a wreck.
Just break even.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us tonight. Man.
Hold on, I ain't get mine in.
I'm sorry, Brian.
Oh.
Ravens are not playing.
We didn't want to hear about the Ravens. They're not here.
Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
Oh man, a perfect day tomorrow would be Peyton Manning getting a chance to go to Super Bowl. However, I just don't think. I think it's official. It's already set in stone. No matter what happens tomorrow, not numerically, but just by everything, Tom Brady has won this rivalry. He has proven that he is the best quarterback the better quarterback out of the two, simply because he knows how to win the big ones more so than Peyton Manning. Peyton might have the best numbers, but Tom Brady is ultimately the better quarterback. We've seen Tom Brady without weapons 90% of his career, and let's not forget the Deion Branches of the world, So, nonetheless, but like I said,
when he had Randy Moss, they lost.
How about that? Well,
you would think when he had Randy Moss, they'd have won, but they actually lost that one.
God don't like ugly. So, like I said, hopefully a perfect day tomorrow will be Peyton Manning winning, Cam Newton winning, and Daniel Bryan coming back to the WWE and winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But there's nothing perfect on earth. So
Did you say Roman Reigns?
No.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
guess
heard that
what?
too.
There's an article out there, 15 reasons why Roman Reigns won't be the guy. You find it on my Facebook page, and you'll see why. 15 reasons, not one.
I heard
15.
Roman
15.
Reigns. All right.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great. Tomorrow night is great for football. It's great for professional wrestling. It's great for Fox Sports Radio 1340 AM. Continue to follow us on social media. Continue to follow us on Instagram. Continue to follow the Sports Case. Continue to follow our own personal pages. It's great. The Flex Zone. Brian H. Water, Solar Sports. We're doing big things here. And enjoy the games. Those on the East Coast, please be safe. Be comfortable. Relax. Enjoy yourself. Don't go out and shovel and overexert yourself. But do send your kid out to make some money by knocking on doors and shoveling somebody else's ground. Hey, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, good night. Thank you for joining us. Continue to follow us on social media. Good night.
Good night.
Good
Peace.
night.